Hello guys, welcome back to a new video. My name is Technology Club, and in today's video we are going to be learning how to make an app in AppGyver. Sorry for the long delay, studies has been hard for me and my webcam is not working. So see a faceless video I guess. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. So first step is to open any browser. You can open Chrome, Edge, Firefox, any browser. For this video I'm going to be using Chrome. After that you want to click the link which is in the description, and I'll be giving the AppGyver link because it's a complicated link and I don't want you guys to get confused. But if you want, and you can copy this link. This link, you can just copy it, and then you can log in. So if you click enter in this link, agcommunity.design-time.eu10.apps and blah blah blah, then you come to this page. In this page I will have to blur out my email and password, but I already have an app. So I already have an account, but if you don't have an account, you can click on register, and then you can go through this step. I already have an account, so I won't go. And the next page will basically ask you for password, and then you can return to sign in. And then, there's an error, sorry about that. So this is the page. After signing up, you can come to this page and log in, and my email and my password is already there. I'll click on keep me signed in, and that's only for my reference. You don't have to do that. Keep me signed in, basically like if I close my browser, still lets me be signed in, so I don't have to again and again sign in. So then next step is to click on continue. After clicking on continue, you will be taken to this page. So I already have a lot of things in this apps which I made, but for you it might be coming that there are no apps at all here, like there are 0 apps. So if you don't have any app, so first step is to create one app. How do you do that? Create new, click on the create new button. After clicking on it, you have to enter your app name, which name you want. If you want, you can change it later also, but for this video I'm going to keep it for YT. And then you have to click on the button, and then it will open your app. So for today's video I'm going to be covering the basics, and I'm also going to be making an adder for you guys. So a simple adder that I'll show you how it will look like. So if you want to exit the page, you can just click on these 3 dots and then click on exit. So a similar adder to this app which I made called adder. So a similar app, if you want to test out your apps, what you can do is click on launch. There's a launcher, and then click on preview your app. You don't need to go to build your app right now. That is if you're publishing your app. So click on open preview portal. So this is basically a preview portal where you can check all your apps, which is actually nice because if you're a developer and if you want to test your apps again and again, then this is the portal, and you don't have to go inside and somehow first publish the app and all. These are good for developers. And minor regard you, there's also a mobile app for the preview portal and for the editor of this. So the dashboard here, this community, if I exit, this place is It's available in the App Store and Google Play Store, so if you want you can download it over there also. So back to this. So here, as you can see, you'll be redirected to this page. So when you're on this page, you can put your pin and then do it, but this is if you have a mobile app and you want to test it here. But if you have it on the web, then what you have to do is click on Open Web Preview. This is to download the app. Look, here also it says you can download the preview apps, but you can also download the editor right here. Okay, so here which one was it? Adder. So we'll open Adder, and then here you can see. So here what I'm going to do, I'll select num1, which is the first number. As you know, in addition we require 2 numbers minimum. So the number 1 I'll take is 23, and then I'll add it with another 23, and we should get 46. Do you realize that? We get 46, and then but here if I try to get 46 plus 46, it won't work because I've gone to the second page. This is the simplest adder which you can make. Like, I just want to make it simple so that it won't take you that much time. I'll close off this. So here, first we'll change the background color. Okay, maybe we'll first learn all the simple things, then we'll go to the a little bit intermediate, and then we'll make our app. So first thing is you should realize is the text. Text is one of the main things which you'll be using, and because like we have all of these things, these are all objects which we can use to build our display and all. Check box, drop down, input, slider, search bar, we can put all of these, but the basic ones are text, title, button, input field and drop down field. Those are the main ones which you are going to be using. The other ones we'll be using in intermediate, but right now we are beginner level, so we'll keep going on with that thing. So first what I would like to do is delete all text boxes and headings. So title is basically the heading of a thing. So we can go say adder, and if you want to change the alignment and all, go to layout. There's one page called layout, and so this is the properties where you can change all the properties and all. So style we'll be discovering in a little later class, because this is not for our age category, for our level. In the properties, this is for our level, not the advanced properties. Advanced property means visible, component ID, those all we are not going to be looking. We are only going to be looking at the content and repeat with. Repeat with also not now, in a later thing, because that's when we are going into deeper things. But for now we are going to be looking into content. Content means whatever is inside your title. So like I put adder, if I want, I'll delete all this. I'll put subtractor. When we are building a subtractor, we can just change this to subtractor. So that is what we are going to be doing. But for today's video, we are going to be making an adder. So I'll do it. Next, layout. In layout, we can set and like how the properties, like how the layout of a title is. Yeah, I don't script my videos, so that's why I can't tell properly. But yeah. So then space between components, those are things you are going to be taking in a later class. But for now, this layout only we are going to be taking. In title, you only have text align. So how the text should be aligned. In this thing, you can change this later. This is for a high level. These are the values. So like what value will come. For content, we are going to be playing around with it today. But for this, we are not. Only layout this thing. So as you can see, there are 4 of them. So left means it will be all the way to the left. Right means it will be all the way to the right, the text. Center means it will be at the dead center. And justify means according to the computer, what it thinks. So the computer is thinking left, but actually we want it to be in the center. So that's a title done. Text is the same thing but a smaller version, like your body. So this is the heading, this is the body. So you can change the maximum length, you can change the selectable or not, or you can change the number of lines, you can change content. We're not going to be looking into these all things right now. We're only going to be looking into content. So content, and same thing as the title, and same thing, even layout. Thus you will have this, it's clip overflowing content. We're not going to be looking that into this right now. We're going to be only looking into text align. Same thing, right to the right, center in the center, justify and left. Same thing. So we're not going to be looking that into very detail right now. Next is our button. Buttons are basically your input from the, like, it helps you make a user interface, like GUI, right? Graphical user interface. It helps us to make interfaces, and we can also do much more with it. So button properties are disabled. You're going to be looking into disabled. Disabled means if it can be disabled, so when the user is there, if he is allowed to click it or not. We can, but you might be thinking, why? What's the use then? And just keep it input field which can be disabled, or text. But through logic, this is the logic. So there's this part called add logic to the component, and like home page. If you click on this, yes, then you will be coming to this place. This is where your coding will happen. So we're not going to be doing extreme coding. We're going to be doing small coding in block coding, not that much. So I'm just going to close it for now. But we can change the properties through this by using the components here. These are we're not going to be going into that much. And we're only going to be going to open page, set variables, and toast. Those we're also going to be going through. Because this is a high level, I don't want to take this too much. We're going to be learning through it slowly. So button, it's a thing which a user can press and give an input. So in layout also, we don't have the layout tab, as you can see, because this one you don't need that. Right. And position, sometimes you can change the position of the button, but you can't change the position of the text. And you might be thinking, then what's the use of this? Like, button should be in the center. It can't be in some other part. So that's why for now I'm going to delete it. Next is our input field. I'm not going to be looking into the other things for now, because I'm kind of running out of time. I'm recording this in the night. So hope you're happy. And this one, so there are two fields this time. If you see, one is the three fields actually. One is the label, one is the value, and one is the placeholder text. So the label means is basically the top text which is seen here. This is the label. So whatever I type here, suppose num1. So this is the people will know what to type here. They'll know number 1 or number 2. But if you don't like that, you can also use a placeholder text. Placeholder text basically is this. Here I'm just going to type something. So instead of typing it there, what I like to do just type it here because that one, and it will occupy less space. Yes, and also other things. And now value means the value which is inside it. So whatever you are going to grab, so whatever you want to, so whatever the user is entering, where will the value go? What's the, so value you can set it to data and variables. You can't set it to a prefix value, or which later you can only set the placeholder text and the label. But you can set it to a variable. Data will be going into later because it's complicated. We have to use Google Firebase, but we can use variables, and we are going to go inside variables. To get to the variables page, you have to click this button, just like that. Layout also nothing special. We're not going to be going into that. That's it for the input field. Next is this thing, change preview device. So if you know, different devices have different resolutions and all. So we can change a device in which it has to be operated from here. So we have iPhones. In iPhones we have these three. Here I won't be calling it. In iPads these three. In Android phones, you have Samsung Galaxy S22, Google Pixel 6 Pro. Android tablets, Samsung Galaxy Tab 10, Chromebook Pixel, and web we have full screen, custom, define custom width, and OnePlus 3. So that's it. This is not that much. It just shows how much space and how compact will it be in different things. And next is the page, and how many pages are there in an app. So in font writing, if you want how to edit it, there's go to the name, and then you can just edit the name here for the app. But to see how many screens you have, go to this home page, and you can change the name of the home by here. Just in the page name, when you select the page, here you have page name, and then in layout also nothing that special, just these three. And then yeah, here I want to keep the page as page 1. So this is page 1. To see how many screens I have, I just click on this and look how many. If you want to see a preview of the screen, just first you have to save it. So then if you hover over it, it should show. 1 second. Yeah, it will generate. Look, I just saved it, so it will say a preview will be generated when you save this page. So when I save it, then only. So how do we add a new page? And what are pages? First, pages are basically your screens. So you know how they have different screens, different apps have different screens. So like that, pages are also different screens. And so pages you have to add, because you can't just delete components and then again delete components and again. Instead, what you can do is open a different page for the user when he clicks something or when something happens, and then you can do it. So we'll do add new page. I'll enter the page name as page 2. Okay, and now we have gone here. So we are going to be using 2 pages for this app. So as you can see, the page name is page 2. We are going to change the headline to adder. So this is a simple adder. We are going to change the pages for this adder. We are not going to keep it in the same place. We'll keep it in the center. This one we'll delete. So now next is variables. In variables, we are going to only be looking into that page variable and app variable. Sorry, not page variable, only app variables. App variables means variables which is available throughout the app. This might not make sense for now, but once we get into page variables, page parameters and data variables, then it will make more sense. So app variables are variables which can be accessed throughout the app. We are going to be using this for today's app. So how do we add an app variable or a variable? So there's an add app variable. If you go here, page variable, page parameters, and data variable. Data variable we can't add it because we haven't set up the data. Setting up the data, we're going to learn a different thing. So here, add app variable. If I click it, then I'm going to get a new variable. I can change the variable name. So I'm going to name it num1 because a few exceptions in the name. There are no spaces allowed, no special characters except for underscores, and no number at the first. So 1 num, it's giving me an error. I can't put without the first letter shouldn't be a number. So if I put 1, then it's an error. The third thing is you can't leave the variable blank. It has to have a name and a unique name. If other variables are named, then no. So we're going to name this number. So the app, how I like to describe variables is they are basically a box which can store or values. We are going to be getting into text, integer, floats later on, but for now we are not going to be doing it. And you can change the type of variable. Boolean, which is true or false, number, and text. We are only going to be looking into those all. Object, list, any value, and all. We are going to be looking into those later. These all are complex ones. So we are only going to be looking into text today. We are going to be looking into number today. Number we are going to be using because we are doing math. And then we can set the initial value, but we can also change it from our app. And so we are going to be changing it from our app. So I'm going to put 3 variables total. Num2 because it's our second number, and then we're also going to be needing the sum. If you know sum, so how will the so we need one value which is the addition, the sum. So that is what we're going to be doing. So we are done with this. So before switching to a page, you will have to save the page. Save the page, then only you are allowed to switch the page. So I'll save it, and then I'll go to here, and then I'll save it again. So look, now this is, I can see it here. Also, I should be able to see it. Yeah, it's not saved completely. Okay, so once I save it, then only. So now let's go to building the app. So as I told you, input field, we are going to be using input fields because the user can interact with them. So the user will be able to enter the value. And first, before getting into that, we go to logic. Logic is basically very code, but here you can put your bricks, and here you have your bricks. You can also install some bricks on the marketplace. I haven't installed any yet, but here in the navigation, you have open page, and we are only going to be looking back in this. Open page basically means to open another page remotely. And then from here in the variables, we are only going to be looking into set app variable. In the set app variable, we are going to set this sum, which is these two numbers, num1 and num2. And then dialog, we are going to be looking into toast. Toast is basically a message. A dialog is also basically a message which is used to send and a message to the user. Sorry, I was drinking water. Okay, but for now we're only going to be looking into toast. Other things we're not going to be looking into now. We're going to be looking into them later. So now let's get into building them. And by the way, these events are when an event happens, then what should happen. So those are. So label, we are going to be removing the label, and then placeholder text we are going to be putting num1. As you know, we are changing the number. So we are telling the user this is the number 1, first number. Now like the number 1 or 2, but the input 1 or input 2. And then value, we are going to change it to app variable, and we are going to set it as num1. And as you remember, num1, and just set preview value. You can change it, so if you want you can just leave it blank, so in appVars.num1 will come, but over there it will show something else. So I'll click it. So whatever the user inputs it's in the text field will be set as the variable. So that's what we are doing. So we are going to duplicate this. To duplicate, just click here. So we are going to duplicate it, and we're just going to change this to num2 and then set it as this value as num2, and we're going to set the value as 0, no, blank, sorry. Yeah, so now you should have two variables. So now we are going to add one button, and we are going to name it add. So what should happen? And once we click this button, then both of these numbers should be added. We're not going to show it here because we are making a very basic one. So we're not going to show it here. We're going to show it in page 2. Okay. So in page 2, we are going to do the exact same thing so that the user will think that it's actually the same thing, but actually it's a different page. Right. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So here I am. So but in this page we're going to be putting in another thing called text here. So here we are just going to change it to the content. We're going to change it to data and variables, and this time we're going to link it to the sum. Sum will basically be what our answer is. So from the other page we are going to transport it into here and then combine it. So we're done with this. So now we only have to add logic to add to the button 1. Click on the arrow to open this. So what do we have to do when we get this? So first we have to set the app variable. I'm going to explain this right now. So I'll show you once again. So to tell the app in what order should things be happening, we have to connect it through these. So just double click it and drag it and then connect it to the dot. You can't connect it like this to the end. You have to connect it to the start. So now I've connected it. This line has appeared. Next I need to tell the variable name. Which variable we want to set? We want to set the sum. And then what value do we want to set it to? We don't want to set it to a static number. We want to set it to two numbers added. So how do we do that? We use formula. So go to formula here, and here is proper coding. So you're going to see app vars, since app is our app variable. So we're going inside all the app variables, and then dot to go inside them and search for which number. So num1, we want num1, and then we are going to do the addition sign, and it might be red, but don't worry. We are going to do app vars again dot num2. So this is basically adding. And then click it to make it normal, and we click on save. So now as you can see, it will set the sum to both of the numbers when it's added. So next what do we have to do? We want to shift the page. So we can click on open page. So drag and drop it and then it should appear. And set the app variable. After the app variable it changes. Then we want to open the page. Which page? We want to open page 2 because we are going to the other page. So what's happening here is they usually input the first two numbers. Then and once it clicks on the button, this thing will happen. So first it will set the sum on variable to this, and then it will set the page to page 2, and the page 2 is this exact replica, but we are putting a text variable which will display as sum. So save, and how we launch the other app, we are going to do the same thing. Open preview portal and open web preview, and then I'm going to click on for YT because that's our app name. And now look at this. So I'm going to put my first number 123 plus 123, which is number 256. Also click and add 123 plus 123. What happened? What's the problem? So when we do add, it thinks that they are an integer strings, so they are text. So they combine the text to make one thing. So what we can do, we can put eval. So here we put eval. Sorry, it's number. I got confused with a different coding language. You can put number and then do app mass.num1. So this is changing the first app, the first variable to a number, to an actual integer. Next, the second one is we're going to do the same thing. Number, and then we're going to do app mass.num2. So now this is the correct one. Now let's see if this is work. So what it's doing, it's basically changing it to be an integer value. So we're going to refresh the same page. Now we're going to try 1, 2, 3 and then 1, 2, 3. So it should be 2, 5, 2, 4, 6. Yeah. So this is the correct answer. So this is how we make an app in AppGyver. Today we have learned about the basic components. We have learned about coding a little. We have made our own app. We have learned variables. So this is just episode 1. We are having many more episodes. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, you can place it in the comment section, or you can join my Discord. And link will be down in the description. So bye. Thanks for watching.